How does one exorcise a demon with a pipe wrench? The answer is not in the Lectitio Divinitatis. It is not in the Codex Astartes. It is not even in the forbidden tomes of the Ordo Malleus, though they have tried to classify it 17 separate times. The answer is in Manual Section 4, Subsection 7 of the Forge World Maintenance Protocols, Catastrophic Pressure Failure in Hydraulic Systems. This is the account of Viktor Grundel, Mechanicus maintenance worker, who survived 23 hours of direct daemon contact, not through faith, not through courage, but through something far more disturbing to the powers of chaos, the complete inability to see possession as anything other than a plumbing problem. He didn't banish a demon, he fixed its leaky manifold. And the demon, for the first time in 10,000 years of existence, learned what it meant to be treated like a difficult customer. Subject designation: Viktor Grundel, Mechanicus Maintenance Division, Subsector Plumbing and Hydraulics, Forge World Metallicus 7. 43 years of service, 372,891 repairs completed without incident. Not without error. Grundle was not perfect, but his errors were of a very specific type: under-ordering replacement gaskets by 5%, miscalculating the flow rate on coolant recyclers by 0.3 liters per hour, forgetting to file Form 88B for emergency repairs conducted on the third fest day of any given month. These were not the errors of incompetence. These were the errors of a man who understood pipes but not paperwork, who could diagnose a blockage by sound alone, but couldn't remember which saint's day required which ceremonial offering. The cult Mechanicus had tried repeatedly to promote him to tech priest engine seer. The tests were simple enough. Apply the sacred unguents, chant the litany of ignition, demonstrate proper respect for the machine spirit. Viktor had failed every time, not from inability, but from a fundamental misunderstanding of the question. When asked to apply sacred unguents to soothe an angry machine spirit, Viktor had applied lubricant to a squeaky bearing. When asked to perform the rite of percussive maintenance, Viktor had tapped a stuck valve exactly 3 times with a rubber mallet, then written a 2-page report on why the valve housing needed replacement. The examiners had stared at the report, at the perfectly functioning machine, at Viktor, who genuinely did not understand what he'd done wrong. "The machine spirit is appeased," they'd finally said. "The bearing needed oil," Viktor had replied. After the 7th failed examination, they'd given up and simply left him where he was. Maintenance worker, 2nd class, red robes but no augmentations, a toolbox but no servo arms. He was allowed to fix things, but forbidden from praying over them. This suited Viktor perfectly. He'd never been good at praying anyway, but he was excellent at plumbing. His workspace was a small maintenance bay in Sector 47 Delta, where he serviced the coolant systems for the Titan fabrication plants. Every morning at 0500 he arrived. Every morning he performed the same routine: inspect the pressure gauges, check for leaks, test the flow rates, clean the filters. The Forge World's more educated tech adepts would have recognized these actions as the debased remains of ancient maintenance rituals, stripped of all liturgical meaning and reduced to pure function. Viktor just called it doing his job. His sole companion was a half-deaf servitor designated JX7739, who held his flashlight and occasionally handed him tools. JX7739 was once a man named Jerome. Viktor didn't know this. Viktor didn't want to know this. He just knew that JX7739 never complained, always showed up on time, and could hold a flashlight perfectly still for 6 hours straight. On the morning of the incident, Viktor was fixing a toilet in the Skiteri barracks, specifically the 4th toilet in the 3rd row of the 17th ablutions chamber. It had been clogged for 3 days. The Skiteri, with their emotion-dampening implants, had simply used a different toilet and filed a maintenance request. Viktor was elbow-deep in the piping, explaining to JX7739 the finer points of sediment buildup, when his Vox bead chirped.
Maintenance. Emergency. Sector 9 Alpha. Catastrophic failure. All available personnel report immediately.
Viktor checked his chrono. 15 minutes until his morning break. "Can it wait?" he asked.
Negative. Catastrophic. Immediate.
Viktor sighed, wiped his hands on his coveralls, and collected his toolbox. JX7739 followed, still holding the flashlight. Sector 9 Alpha was the primary Titan fabrication plant. Viktor had serviced its coolant systems many times. 300 separate lines, 47 pressure valves, 6 major heat exchangers. It was a beautiful system, really. Elegant, efficient, a little outdated, but well maintained. Or it had been. As Viktor approached, he could hear the screaming. Not mechanical screaming. That he would have understood. This was organic screaming, high-pitched, terrified, the kind of screaming that suggested people were dying in ways that violated several laws of physics. "Probably a ruptured steam line," Viktor said to JX7739. "Makes people panic. Saw it once on Methylaneca 4. Guy got 3rd-degree burns over 40% of his body. Took them 3 hours to stop screaming." JX7739 said nothing because JX7739 could not speak. The fabrication plant's main doors were open. Red emergency lights pulsed. The screaming continued, and beneath it, Viktor could hear something else. A sound like metal grinding against metal, like thunder contained in a drum, like a word being spoken in a language that predated language itself. Viktor had heard many mechanical sounds in his 43 years. This was a new one. He made a mental note to look up the manufacturer's specifications later. He walked through the doors. The Titan fabrication chamber was 200 meters tall, 300 meters wide, and currently occupied by something that should not existed. It had been a Warhound-class Titan, or rather, it had been the skeletal chassis of a Warhound-class Titan, waiting in the assembly cradle for its armor plating and weapon systems. 3 stories of exposed hydraulics, power conduits, and servo motors. Now it was awake, and it was screaming. The chassis moved with liquid grace, impossible for something so large. Its empty weapon mounts dripped something that wasn't oil. Its unfinished cockpit gaped like a mouth. And everywhere, absolutely everywhere, were faces, manifesting in the smoke, forming in the shadows, screaming with 1,000 voices that each told a different truth about suffering. tech priests fled past Viktor. Their red robes were torn. One was missing an arm. Another was missing his mind, judging by the way he was laughing and trying to climb into a waste disposal unit. "Retreat!" someone screamed. "Daemon Engine! The Titan is possessed!" The Titan's head, still unfinished and missing its armor plating, turned toward the sound. A lance of purple fire shot from where its eyes should have been. The screaming tech priest became a smear of ash and regret. Viktor watched this happen, processed it, correlated it with his 43 years of maintenance experience. "Plasma leak," he said. "Serious one, too. That's not supposed to vent into the assembly chamber." He walked forward. A hand grabbed his shoulder. Viktor turned to find a very young, very terrified tech priest adept. "Are you insane?" the adept screamed. "That's a daemon, an entity of pure chaos bound to the Titan's frame. We need to evacuate. We need to call the Ordo Malleus. We need to—" "Let me check the coolant lines first," Viktor said, gently removing the hand from his shoulder. "If the primary heat exchanger is compromised, the whole plant could go critical. That's a 47 million throne repair bill, plus downtime. Downtime? It's going to kill everyone." "Probably," Viktor agreed, "but the coolant system needs to be shut down properly. Otherwise, it'll take out the adjacent sectors too. Standard protocol. It's in the manual." The adept stared at him, at his toolbox, at his complete, genuine, terrifying indifference to the screaming metal god currently destroying the fabrication chamber. "You're going to die," the adept whispered. "I've got 3 months until retirement. I'm not leaving a safety violation on my record." He walked toward the Daemon Engine. JX7739 followed, still holding the flashlight. Behind them, the tech priest adept made the sign of the cog, whispered a prayer to the Omnisia, and fled. They specialized in binding daemons to machines. They'd perfected the rituals over 10,000 years. They knew every chant, every sacrifice, every forbidden word that could trap a creature of the warp in a shell of steel. They'd never met someone who thought the demon was just a coolant leak. The Daemon Engine noticed Viktor approximately 11 seconds into his approach. Hard not to. He was the only thing in the fabrication chamber still walking toward it instead of away from it. And he was making notes on a data slate. The demon turned. Its partial head swiveled with a grace that flesh should not possess and metal could not achieve. Reality bent around it. The air thickened. Mortal minds within 50 meters began to bleed from their eyes. Viktor squinted at a pressure gauge. "Mortal," the demon said. Its voice was not sound. It was the sensation of sound. It bypassed Viktor's ears entirely and manifested directly in his brainstem. "You dare approach me. I am Kalreth the Destroyer. I have ended civilizations. I have drunk the screams of billions. I have—" "Pressure's too high," Viktor interrupted, tapping the gauge. "Way too high. That's your problem right there." Silence. Not normal silence. The silence of a predator that has just encountered prey that doesn't understand its prey. "What?" Kalreth said. "Your hydraulic pressure," Viktor explained, pointing at the Titan's exposed leg assembly. "See this gauge here? Should be reading 3.7 bars. It's at 8.2. No wonder you're leaking. You're about to blow a gasket and probably in the primary manifold. Let me just—" He reached for a valve. "Do not!" Viktor opened the valve. Black ichor poured out. It steamed. It screamed. Where it hit the floor, the metal corroded, and faces appeared in the rust, whispering blasphemies in dead languages. Viktor collected a sample in a specimen jar, held it up to the light, and examined it. "Huh," he said. "Sediment buildup. Common in older models. You've probably got particulate contamination in the whole system. When's the last time you flushed your coolant?" Kalreth stared at him, or would have if it had possessed anything resembling eyes. In the warp, in that dimension of pure emotion and nightmare logic where demons truly lived, Kalreth was experiencing something unprecedented. Confusion. Not the confusion of a mortal mind confronted with cosmic horror. That was familiar. That was delicious. This was the opposite. This was cosmic horror confronted with complete mundanity. "I," began Kalreth, "am a daemon of the warp. I am bound to this shell by rituals written in the blood of the innocent." Right, Viktor said, making more notes. "But see, the problem is hydraulic. You've got corruption in the fluid lines. If we don't fix it, you're going to have total system failure within," he checked his calculations, "about 4 hours, give or take. Then you won't be destroying anything. You'll just be laking on the floor. Very undignified." He moved to the leg assembly, completely unconcerned by the fact that he was now standing directly beneath a 3-story tall murder machine possessed by an entity of pure chaos. "JX, flashlight here." The servitor complied. Viktor leaned in, examining the connections. "Yeah, look at this. These seals are completely shot. And your pressure regulator is stuck open? That's basic maintenance. Who's been servicing this unit?" "No one has serviced this unit. It was a trap. Chaos sorcerers bound me here to create a weapon of..." "Without proper maintenance protocols? That's a safety violation. That's, 6 separate violations, actually. Who approved this installation? You have the paperwork?" "There is no paperwork. This is demonic possession." "Still needs to be filed with the safety office," Viktor said. He was now actively working on the hydraulics, his hands moving with the confidence of someone who had done this exact task 7,000 times before. "I'm gonna have to write this up. JX, hand me the 7/8 wrench." Viktor had been working for approximately 17 minutes when the tech priest adept returned, accompanied by a proper tech priest engineer who was carrying a very, very old book. The engineer's name was Archmagos Theta 77. He had been performing exorcism rituals for 73 years. He had banished daemons from corrupted machines, sanctified possessed weapons, and once talked a chaos-tainted cogitator into destroying itself out of pure shame. He knew daemon possession when he saw it. He also knew what he was seeing now, and he didn't believe it. "You," Theta 77 called out, "maintenance worker, step away from the Daemon Engine immediately." Viktor glanced back. "Give me a minute. I'm almost done with this section." "Immediately!" Viktor sighed, set down his wrench, and climbed down from the Titan's assembly leg. He approached the Archmagos. Behind him, the Daemon Engine sat oddly still, as if it too wanted to see where this was going. "What's the problem?" Viktor asked. "The problem," Theta 77 said, his voice tight with the kind of patience that precedes violence, "is that you are performing maintenance on a daemon-possessed war engine." "Yeah, It's possessed by bad maintenance. When's the last time you flushed the coolant on this thing? It's not literally possessed by maintenance issues. There's an actual daemon inside it, a creature of the warp, a servant of the ruinous powers. Viktor looked back at the Titan, at Kalreth, who is currently manifesting faces in the smoke just to maintain its dignity. "So what?" Viktor asked. "So it will kill you. It will tear your soul from your body and drag you screaming into the immaterium." "Maybe, but right now it's leaking hydraulic fluid at about 12 liters per hour, and that fluid is contaminated with what looks like corrupted machine oil. If we don't stop the leak and flush the system, the contamination will spread to the adjacent coolant lines. Then we'll have 4 Titans with compromised hydraulics. That's my job. I fix leaks." Theta 777 stared at him, at his complete, genuine, terrifying sincerity. "You cannot fix a daemon with a wrench." "Finally," Kalreth interjected, "someone who understands. I am Kalreth the Destroyer. I have brought low the proud. I have feasted on the terror of worlds. "Your left manifold is leaking," Viktor said, not even turning around. "What?" "Left hydraulic manifold, primary coupling. You've got a hairline fracture. Probably happened when you manifested. I can fix it, but I'll need to shut off flow to the damaged section, just for a few minutes." "You will do no such..." Viktor returned to the Titan, located the shut-off valve, and closed it. Kalreth's left arm went limp. There was a moment of perfect silence. Then, "What have you done?" "Shut off flow to the damaged section. Standard procedure. Don't worry, you've got redundancy built in. Your right arm still works fine. See?" He poked the right arm's hydraulics. The arm twitched. Kalreth the Destroyer, herald of the end times, bringer of annihilation, stared at its limp left arm. Then at Viktor Grundel, who was making notes on a clipboard. Then at Archmagos Thea 777, who was very slowly backing away. "This isn't how this works," Kalreth said, its voice smaller than before. "Needs a new coupling," Viktor said. "I'll have to order the park. Takes about 3 business days. You can still move around, just don't put weight on your left side. Think of it as being in a sling." The part arrived 2 days later. During those 2 days, several things happened. First, Archmagos Theta 77 attempted to perform an exorcism. It lasted 17 minutes before Kalreth got bored and asked if anyone was going to fix its arm or if it was supposed to just lean against this wall forever. Second, the Older Malleus was contacted. An inquisitor arrived, took one look at the situation, and requested clarification on why the demon-possessed Titan was cooperating with the maintenance schedule. Third, Viktor completed his coolant system flush. This last point requires elaboration. Viktor had explained, in the patient tone of someone who has explained this many times before, that before he could fix the hydraulic damage, he needed to purge the contaminated fluid from the system. The contamination, which Theta 77 kept insisting was Daemonic ichor, but which Viktor called really dirty coolant, needed to be drained, the lines flushed, and new fluid introduced. "This is going to be uncomfortable," Viktor warned. "I am agony incarnate. I do not feel discomfort." "Sure," Viktor said. "JX, hand me the purge hose." The purge cycle began at 0800 on the 3rd day. for reasons known only to the ancient tech priests who had designed the Titan's coolant system, the purge cycle used blessed machine oil as the flushing agent. Not because of any religious significance, but because blessed machine oil had certain additives, sacred unguents, sanctified lubricants, oils that had been prayed over by engine seers for centuries, that made it an excellent cleaning agent. It was also, as Archmagos Theta 77 belatedly realized, essentially holy water. The effect on Kalreth was immediate and dramatic. "The pain, the agony, I am being unmade, I am being—" "Yeah, initial flush is always rough," Viktor said, checking his pressure gauges. "Give it a minute, the pressure will normalize." "I am literally being purged from this vessel." "Uh-huh, that's the contamination leaving the system, means it's working. See? Pressure's already coming down. Told you it'd normalize." Kalreth shrieked, not in rage, not in defiance, in genuine, actual pain. The blessed oil burned through the daemonic corruption in the hydraulic lines like acid through flesh. Every drop was agony. Every second was a small death. And Viktor Grundel watched his gauges, made notes, and occasionally adjusted the flow rate. "Don't flush too fast," he muttered. "Creates turbulence, damages the seals." Archmagos Theta 777 watched this happen with the expression of a man watching someone accidentally perform brain surgery with a shovel and getting perfect results. "Are you?" he began. "Are you exorcising it?" "I'm flushing the coolant. Takes about 4 hours for a full system purge. After that, we refill, test for leaks, and you're good to go." "Good to go?" Kalreth screamed. Its voice was weaker now. The holy oil was doing its work. "My essence is being torn from this vessel. I curse you. I curse your line. I curse—" "Please, don't thrash," Viktor said. "You'll damage the connections. Just stay still. It'll be over soon." Hour 6 of the purge cycle. Kalreth had stopped screaming. Not because the pain had stopped, it hadn't, but because screaming took energy, and the demon was running very, very low on energy. Viktor, for his part, had moved on to replacing the damaged coupling in the left manifold. This required climbing into the Titan's suprastructure, specifically into the chest cavity, where the primary hydraulic distribution hub was located, which meant Viktor was now inside the Daemon Engine. "JX, I need more light." The Servatus flashlight swung up, illuminating the interior of the Titan's chest. It was not a pleasant place. The walls wept. Faces appeared in the metal, mouths open in silent screams. The air itself felt wrong, as if reality was having trouble deciding whether it should exist here or not. Phantom voices whispered promises of power, descriptions of torments, and surprisingly accurate predictions about Viktor's tax liability for the next fiscal year. Viktor ignored all of this. He was studying a gasket. "Seals completely rotted through," he said. "No wonder you were leaking. Look at this, JX. See? This is what happens when you don't do your quarterly maintenance." JX 7739 said nothing, but dutifully held the flashlight steady. "You are inside me," Kalreth's voice echoed through the chamber. Not screaming now. Quiet. Almost conversational. "You stand in the very heart of my essence. I could show you things, mortal, things that would drive you mad, wonders and horrors beyond counting. I could offer you power, knowledge, immortality. All you need do is acknowledge me. See me not as a machine to be repaired, but as a god to be worshipped." "Hand me the sealant," Viktor said to JX 7739. The servitor complied.
Viktor applied sealant to the new gasket, fitted it into place, and tightened the coupling with a torque wrench. Exactly 47 Newton meters, as specified in the manual.
Did you hear me, mortal? I am offering you everything your species has ever desired.
Got any penetrating oil? Viktor asked JX7739. This bolt's seized.
You are ignoring a god.
I'm replacing your gasket. Can you hold this flashlight? JX needs both hands for the next part. There was a very long silence. Then, in a voice that sounded more confused than angry,
Hold the flashlight?
Yeah, just, here. Hold this flashlight here. I need to see what I'm doing. For 10,000 years, Kalreth the Destroyer had existed. For 10,000 years, it had whispered temptations, offered damnation, and dragged souls into the warp. It had never been asked to hold a flashlight. Very, very slowly, a tendril of smoke materialized, solidified, took the flashlight from Viktor's hand, pointed it at the coupling.
Perfect, thanks. Now, about this seal.
Archmagos Theta 777, watching this on the chamber's pict screens, made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. He wasn't entirely sure which. Hour 9. Viktor emerged from the Titan's chest cavity, wiping his hands on his coveralls. Okay, he said. Couplings replaced, seals are good, now we just need to refill the system and test it. Kalreth had been very quiet for the last hour. The holy oil had done its work. Most of the Daemonic contamination was purged. What remained was weak fading, like a radio signal at the edge of reception. You have destroyed me, it whispered. I've replaced your hydraulics, Viktor corrected. Big difference. Now, let's get you refilled. JX, connect the refill hose to the primary intake. The refill fluid was, naturally, more blessed machine oil, sanctified by the cult Mechanicus, prayed over by tech priests, containing trace amounts of silver, which was a traditional demon repellent. Not that Viktor knew any of this. He just knew it was the recommended fluid for Warhound-class Titans. Said so right in the manual. Starting refill now, he said, opening the valve.
The blessed oil flooded into the Titan's systems, into every line, every coupling, every chamber where Kalreth's essence still clung. The demon screamed one final time, not in rage, in defeat, in the terrible realization that it had been banished not by holy warriors or sanctified rituals, but by a man performing scheduled maintenance. I curse you, it said, its voice fading. I curse your name. I will return. I will... The Titan shuddered, went still. The faces in the smoke disappeared. The wrongness in the air evaporated like morning mist. Viktor checked his gauges. Pressure's good, he said. Flow rate's nominal, temperature's stable. Looks like we're all set. He made a note on his clipboard. Recommend running diagnostics before putting it back in the rotation, but the hydraulics are solid. He turned to Archmagos Theta 77, who was standing in the doorway with a very strange expression. All fixed, he said. Should be good for another 10,000 hours. But seriously, you need to do better preventative maintenance. This could have been avoided. You, Theta 77 began, you just flush the coolant and replace the bad coupling. Standard repair. Took a bit longer than usual because of all the contamination, but nothing complicated. I'll send you the invoice. Emergency repair rate, I'm afraid. after hours and all.
Theta 77 looked at the Titan, at the completely functional, completely unpossessed Titan. "It's gone," he said.
The contamination? Yeah, all flushed out. Ran about 40 liters of cleaning solution through the system. Had to dispose of it as hazmat, obviously. That's extra. But the system's clean now.
"I meant the demon."
"Oh," Viktor said. He considered this. Was there a demon? I thought that was just the tech priest adept being dramatic. Sometimes pressure failures make people see things. Happened on Metallica 4 once. Guy swore he saw the Emperor. Turned out he just had a gas leak in his rebreather.
Theta 77 opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No sound came out.
"Anyway," Viktor said, "I've got to get back to Sector 47 Delta. Still got that toilet to finish. It's been 3 days. The Skitarii are getting annoyed. Well, not annoyed exactly. They don't do emotions, but they filed 6 more maintenance requests, which is their version of annoyed."
He collected his toolbox. JX7739 collected the flashlight. They left. Behind them, Archmagos Theta 77 stood in the fabrication chamber, staring at the Titan, trying to comprehend what he'd just witnessed. The Inquisitor found him there 6 hours later, still staring. "So?" the Inquisitor asked. "Did your exorcism work?" "No," Theta 77 said quietly. "The plumber fixed it."
Viktor Grundel did not exorcise a daemon. He performed routine maintenance. He flushed contaminated coolant, replaced damaged seals, and followed every protocol in the manual. The fact that the contamination was demonic essence and the coolant was blessed machine oil was, to him, irrelevant. He was a plumber. Pipes were pipes. Fluid was fluid. Corruption was just another word for sediment buildup. And Kalreth the Destroyer, herald of the end times, had learned something that 10,000 years of existence in the warp had never taught it. That the most terrifying force in the universe is not rage, not ambition, not even entropy itself. It's a man who sees your cosmic horror and writes it up as a pressure valve malfunction. The Titan was returned to service 6 days later, after extensive testing, and 17 separate blessings from 17 different Archmagoi, and one very, very thorough quality control inspection by the Ordo Malleus. It worked perfectly. Better than perfectly, actually. The hydraulic response time was 3% faster than specifications. The pressure maintenance was flawless. Every gauge read exactly what it should read. It's like it's new. Actually, it's better than new. Whoever did this maintenance work knew what they were doing. No one told him about Viktor Grundel. No one wanted to explain. Viktor, for his part, returned to his normal duties. He finished the Skitarii toilet. Turned out the blockage was a devotional coin someone had dropped. Viktor filed it under Foreign Object in Drainage System and recommended installing grates over the drains. 3 days after that, he received a commendation from the Fabricator General for exemplary service in crisis conditions. It came with a 5% pay increase and a nice certificate suitable for framing. Viktor pinned the certificate to his workspace wall, next to his maintenance schedule and his collection of pressure gauge calibration charts. He didn't attend the ceremony. He had 3 backup generators to service that day, and he didn't like to fall behind schedule. The Ordo Malleus investigation took 3 months. They reviewed the PICT recordings, all 47 hours of them. They interviewed Archmagos Theta 77, who gave testimony in a voice that never quite regained its certainty. They examined the Titan, looking for any trace of demonic contamination. They found none.
What they found instead was a maintenance record so thorough, so precisely documented, so boring, that it could only have been written by someone who genuinely didn't understand they'd performed an exorcism. The final report, stamped with 17 levels of classification, contained the following conclusion. Subject Grundle appears to have banished the daemon through purely mechanical means. Analysis suggests the combination of holy machine oils, proper hydraulic maintenance, and complete emotional disconnection from the concept of demonic possession created conditions unsuitable for wart entity manifestation. Recommend further study. Also recommend promoting Subject Grundle to Tech Priest Engine Seer. Recommend subject actually show up to take the test this time. Viktor failed the test again. Still couldn't remember which prayers went with which maintenance procedures. Still wrote a detailed report on a squeaky bearing when asked to commune with a machine spirit. They gave up and created a new position just for him, Master Maintenance Technician. It came with better pay, a larger workspace, and explicit instructions not to bother with the religious parts. This suited Viktor perfectly. Word spread, as word always does in the Mechanicus, whispered at first, between tech priests who had heard from other tech priests who had seen the recordings. Did you hear? Someone exorcised a daemon with a pipe wrench. That's impossible. I saw the pick feed. He just flushed it out like it was a clog. Other daemon possessions occurred. They always did. Chaos never rested. And eventually, inevitably, another Titan was possessed. A Reaver class this time. The thing manifested in a fabrication plant on Metallica 3, killing 20 tech priests and corrupting an entire assembly line. The Archmagos in charge looked at the screaming, reality-warping horror, looked at his chronometer, looked at his maintenance roster. He said, "Get me Grundle." Viktor arrived 6 hours later. He'd had to travel via cargo hauler from Metallica 7. He didn't like travel. It interrupted his schedule. "What seems to be the problem?" he asked. "Daemon Engine, Reaver class, possessed 3 days ago. It's killed 37 people and corrupted 2 city blocks. The Ordo Malleus wants to exterminatus the whole sector." Viktor looked at the possessed Reaver. It was larger than the Warhound, angrier too. Flames poured from its eyes. Reality bent around it in ways that made geometry cry. "Coolant systems probably shot. These big ones always have pressure regulation problems. Let me get my tools." 4 hours later, the daemon was gone. Viktor had replaced 3 pressure regulators, cleaned 4 heat exchangers, and performed a complete system flush. He left an invoice, emergency travel rate plus weekend overtime. The Archmagos paid it without question. By year's end, the Mechanicus had a new protocol. Officially, it was called Emergency Maintenance Procedure 977 Delta, Hydraulic System Corruption Response. Unofficially, it was called the Grundle Protocol. The procedure was simple. If a machine becomes possessed by a daemon, first attempt standard exorcism. If standard exorcism fails, contact local Ordo Malleus. If Ordo Malleus is unavailable or unsuccessful, contact Master Maintenance Technician Grundle. Evacuate all personnel except Grundle. Let Grundle work. Pay the invoice promptly. It had a 97% success rate.
The 3% failure was when Viktor had been unavailable due to scheduled vacation time. He took 1 week off every year, always the same week, and he refused to be disturbed during it.
During that week, 3 demon possessions went unfixed. The Ordo Malleus had to handle them the old way, with ritual and sacrifice and 17 hours of carefully intoned prayers. After that, the Mechanicus started scheduling their demon possessions for when Viktor was available. This was, of course, impossible. Demons didn't follow schedules. But the Mechanicus tried anyway. They installed better Geller fields, improved their anti-corruption measures, increased their maintenance routines. Anything to avoid having a demon possession occur during Viktor's vacation week. Viktor Grundle continued his work, fixed his pipes, serviced his coolant systems, filed his reports. He received more commendations, more promotions. Eventually, he was assigned an entire team of maintenance workers to supervise. He accepted this mostly because it meant he could delegate the paperwork and focus on the actual repairs. His team learned quickly. Not how to exorcise demons. Viktor didn't teach that because he didn't think he was doing that. But how to do proper maintenance. How to check pressure, how to diagnose leaks, how to treat every system with the respect of someone who understood that neglected maintenance killed people. One day, a young tech adept asked him, "Master Grundle, what's the secret to banishing demons?" Viktor, elbow deep in a coolant manifold, paused. "I don't banish demons," he said. "But you've done it 17 times. I've fixed 17 machines. If they happen to have demons in them, well, that's a contamination issue. You flush contamination. It's basic procedure." "But how do you not be afraid?" He considered the question. It was a good question. He'd never really thought about it before. "I suppose," he said slowly, "it's because I'm more afraid of the paperwork if I don't fix it. You ever seen the incident report forms for a catastrophic system failure? 37 pages, in triplicate, and you have to get them signed by 4 different departments." The young tech adept stared at him. "The demons should be afraid of you," he whispered. "Nonsense," Viktor said. "Now hand me the 7/16 socket. And pay attention, I'm only going to show you this once." In the warp, in that realm of pure emotion and impossibility, demons gather and share knowledge, warn each other of dangers, tell stories of the things that threaten them. Kalreth the Destroyer had a new story. "He treated me like a leaky pipe," Kalreth said, its essence still damaged from the purging. "He didn't acknowledge my power, my terror, my glory. He called me contamination. He flushed me." Other demons listened. Some laughed, some didn't. "Avoided him," a bloodthirster rumbled. "Heard he was assigned to Metallica 7. Changed my manifestation to Metallica 5. Not worth it." "He's just one mortal," a keeper of secrets purred. "How dangerous can he be?" "He holds the ultimate weapon," Kalreth said. "What weapon? A sacred blade? A holy relic? Worse, he has indifference. Complete, genuine, terrifying indifference. He sees 10,000 years of demonic power as a pressure valve stuck open. He sees the glory of chaos as poor maintenance, and he treats you accordingly." "We are guards," another demon protested. "We are the embodiment of universal forces. We cannot be defeated by apathy." "You'd think so," Kalreth said quietly. "I thought so too.
right until he asked me to hold his flashlight, and I did, because in that moment I wasn't a god, I wasn't a terror, I was a difficult customer, and he was going to fix my problem whether I liked it or not. The demons considered this. Then quietly they added a new entry into their mental catalogue of dangers in the materium, right between Grey Knight Grandmasters and custodians. They called it maintenance workers, Viktor Grundel specifically. Threat level, extreme. Recommended action, avoid.
The official record states that Daemon Engine incursions in the Metallica subsector have decreased by 67% over the last solar decade. The Ordo Malleus attributes this to improved Geller field maintenance and increased vigilance among tech priests. The truth is simpler and stranger. Demons have learned to avoid Forge World Metallica 7, not from the defenses, not from the prayers, but from the knowledge that if they manifest there, they will eventually meet Viktor Grundel, and he will fix them. The lesson is written in the Ledger of the Lost, filed under Victory's subcategory Maintenance. Chaos expects fear. It expects rage. It expects desperate prayers and last stands. It expects to be treated as significant, as worthy of terror, as important. It has no defense against a man who sees you as a ticket number, who treats your corruption as sediment buildup, who asks you to hold a flashlight and genuinely expects you to comply. The Mechanicus has weaponized this. The Grundle protocol is taught in 7 Forge Worlds now. Not the technique. Viktor can't really explain the technique, because to him there is no technique. There's just proper maintenance. But the mindset, the ability to see past the horror to the simple mechanical problem beneath. Most tech priests can't do it. They try. They fail. They still see the demon, the terror, the wrongness. But a few can. A handful across the Imperium. Maintenance workers who, like Viktor, never quite grasp the religious significance of what they do. Who see machines as machines and problems as problems and nothing else. They are the Imperium's strangest weapon. They carry no bolters. They chant no prayers. They just show up with their toolboxes and their clipboards and their complete, genuine inability to be impressed. And the demons, beings of pure emotion and cosmic significance, discover that sometimes the most terrifying thing in the universe is someone who looks at your millennia of power and says, "Yeah, I've seen worse. This is just a stuck valve." Viktor Grundel still works on Forge World Metallica 7. He's 3 months from retirement. Again, they keep postponing it, claiming they can't find a replacement, offering him more pay, better benefits, a more prestigious title. He accepts the pay raises, ignores the titles, and continues to fix pipes, because that's his job. That's all it's ever been. Pipes need fixing, systems need maintenance. That's what he does. The Emperor protects. Viktor fixes leaks. And sometimes, in this dark millennium, those are the same thing.